We're live.
There we go. We're live.
No countdown this time. I love it.
No, just going in cold open.
So
Yeah.
technical glitches that we've got going on, man, make us complete. We're
Yeah.
experts, dude. I tried to clip in Larry into my show, and then when I played it back on Facebook, you couldn't even hear him. Like it
Oh
sounded
no.
right when I sent it through Audacity and tuned it up for Bob. It sounded okay, but
No.
today I was listening to my own show and gazing in my vapid pool of narcissism, and
Yeah.
like there it was.
So what you do all afternoon? Just all right. I'm gonna watch my show again. Dang,
Man,
I'm good. Yeah. No, this is great.
wow,
Great
that
stuff.
man, I'm funny. Holy cow!
Oh well. Well, like I said, we're when we get folks back, it's a, we'll start off the show. And in the meantime, I'm gonna make sure that I actually clean up all of our old recordings
And
because
yeah, and Shelly's back. Thank
Shelly's
you.
back. All right,
All
Shelly's
right,
back. Now we can get
Ryan Bedford's
going.
in the
For
house.
real.
He's hit us with a like. He's probably rolling strikes right now down an alley and
It's
being like,
bowling
"Those
night.
those poor clowns. They need some support. They get nobody in there." I love those guys.
Bowling.
Hard to hear, but here.
There we go. Hey, right. All right. So,
Whoops, sorry. I tried to hide that. My bad.
yep. All right. So we should get started with the actual show again, folks. Anyone listening today, if you have a topic that's on your mind, we got a whole bunch of stuff. You know how Fridays are. Fridays are weird. We're gonna jump all over. We got a whole bunch of stuff, and we'll see how much of it we actually end up getting to.
We won't get to all of it, but we'll try, man.
Yeah. All right. So we'll go to the live show. We'll give it. I want to get my. We'll give it to 2:30.
All right. Checking my stack of stuff.
You got your notes. Shuffle them.
Yeah.
All right.
In
10.
an homage.
5, 4, 3. Welcome to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, your host for today, joined by Tim, the Freedom Variant O'Connor.
I'm here, brother.
You're here. Yeah, and of course it's Fake News Friday. Don't let anyone tell you different. It's Fake News Friday. And yeah, we got tons of stuff to go on. You know how Fridays go. We're going to be jumping up all over the place. Got a handful of topics we wanted to cover today. And shout out to our friends listening over on WYSL, and shout out to our friends listening down the line at WACK out in Newark. And of course, friends listening online. If you're listening online again and you're just joining us, make sure you leave a comment just to say hi, or let us know how you feel about the topics at hand, or if there's something that we ought to be talking about today. And and I'm going to start out topic today just to say, because I haven't had a chance to comment on it. Super excited that Larry Sharp is running for governor officially again. Kind of suspected that's where he was going, but
he was on the news, man. Our mainstream media, Fox Business Center.
Yeah, it's on Kennedy.
Kennedy, yeah, she doesn't have Joe Rogan's audience, let's be honest, but she has a pretty substantial audience, and he was on there. She, of course, kind of wanted to take it down the racial wormhole. The governor of New York City made some statements about how reporters are racist. That you wanted Larry's take on that, and
yeah.
Larry's way too smooth to fall for that trick, man. He was on it.
So, you switch the conversation correctly back to solutions. That's what we expect.
Yeah, and that's what he did, man. It was awesome.
Yeah. Now, I said we're excited for our friend and our co-host, and I know I helped a lot with his last campaign, so I'm curious to see where this one goes. And he's got the endorsement of Andrew Yang's party too, the Forward Party, and
correct
was the Unite Party.
Also, the Unite Party offered him an endorsement. The Unite Party is actually pretty interesting, Kevin. They want open primaries. They want a path forward to fixing this broken two-party system that we have in New York State. And look, let's be honest, we don't even really have a two-party system in New York State. We have like three assemblymen that don't love the state, and all of the rest of them, regardless of what party they're affiliated with, just love big government. That's it. And that's why New York State is in the shape that it's in. It's bad. It's
Yeah,
bad.
no, I mean it's tough, and I appreciate what parties like the Unite Party do to try to shake things up. And also I understand how tough it is to break through the noise and to get people to actually go along with, changing what party they're voting for, much less, what specific politician, but what party altogether. It ain't easy. And they're gonna have a a tough time building it up, but you know, I wish him luck, and hopefully, we'll see if the Libertarian Party and either of these others end up with ballot access this time around, or if it's all independent nominating petitions for the next couple of years too.
Oh, my Assemblyman John Salka has put forth a bill that will at least lower the thresholds for ballot access for independent party nominations. So it's pretty good. I did want to make a shout out to our buddy Ryan there, who's bowled the 300 up in up near Mechanicville on Monday night, and he credits libertarianism. And guys, to the audience out there, I just want you to know you automatically become, if you convert to libertarianism or a libertarian party, you automatically become better looking. You're a better bowler. You're more attractive to your chosen opposite person that you're supposed to be attracted to, or is supposed to be attracted to you. It's like Dianetics, but better. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, there we go. Why you're really selling it. People totally believe that, Tim. They're signing up now. Somehow I missed the better at bowling side effect. I'm still terrible at bowling, but it's probably mostly a side effect of I only go bowling like once a year.
That is probably it. That is, if you like, so if you're dedicated to bowling and then you become a libertarian, automatically you can start bowling 300. That's how I see it.
Tim really making the hard sell here.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, anything is possible, guys. That's what I'm saying. Through liberty, anything is possible.
So the freedom to get better at bowling.
Hey,
but it's your responsibility. Government is not going to do it for you.
Yeah, that's right. Well, besides the Libertarian Party, I want to give a little shout out to Rush Limbaugh passed a year ago today, and he's like the godfather of the modern talk radio movement. He's like the godfather of podcasts, if you ask me. And so look, I know a lot of people, conservatives, liberals, Republicans, Democrats, a lot of people didn't like him, but his audience was actually even bigger than Joe Rogan's on a month-to-month basis, if I understand how they report these things correctly. And I found him, more than anything else, to really help me put words to the absurdity I see in everyday life, the absurdity I see in our governing strategies. And so while he would always come down on the side of, like, he was a big fan of George Bush Jr., or at least he seemed to be, and he seemed to really like Donald Trump. And I get that a lot of people did like Donald Trump, and like I always say, I didn't hate him. He made me laugh. He did some things that seemed okay. He was kind of anti-war. I like being anti-war. So, but he just was a little too complicit in propping up people. But other than that, there were times when he was absolutely hilarious. I know he was also offensive, but guys, we live in an absurd world, and if we can't take a few minutes every once in a while to appreciate the absurdity of things that we experience, I think that we're missing out. And so, Rush Limbaugh, I miss you. I wasn't listening to you as much as I used to in my younger days, but I miss you. And that feel like I had to say that.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Like I said, I used to listen to Rush a lot more when I was younger, a teenager, and I'd just be in the car with my parents listening to it, and I didn't. Just got all the indoctrination all over the place.
Right, right. No, my kids have similar memories. They probably hate Rush Limbaugh, and I would put it on the radio. They want to listen to music, and I'm like, music gives me a headache, kids. It's too repetitive. I can't deal with it. And they'd be like, just give me an hour with Rush Limbaugh, and then I'll let you listen to music. And then they'd fall asleep in the car, and I'd listen to Rush all day.
I will eventually drive my son nuts because my camera decided to go. Cool.
Oh, nice.
I will eventually drive my son nuts because I like to listen to podcasts on 2x speed, and
well,
I'll just do that. I got to get that information faster.
Yeah. Do you rewind it?
No. I just
If you hear something good, or you just process that information that fast.
you get used to it.
Yeah, I believe it. So I
Oh,
do want to also point out that once again, I am the expert on vitamin D, and as Shelly's talking about right here, vitamin D is a fast soluble vitamin, and its sources have been wintered for years and years. Root cellars keep vegetable sources and fish and other good sources of vitamin D, pickled brine, etc. Absolutely. And you also say down here, your next comment I'm going to bring up. People have known the value of vitamin D long before it was named vitamin D. We have certain things that are observational realities, right? They didn't call it vitamin D, but they recognized that certain foods had some sort of nutrition, that the sun seemed to have a beneficial effect on sickness. And now we know why. And now even WebMD endorses Tim O'Connor's position on vitamin D.
WebMD, notoriously trustworthy. Actually, they're okay. I'm not going to bash those guys.
They're okay.
But, Tim over here shilling for big vitamin D.
I will
say something else.
Vitamin D, even with the big monopolistic control over the vitamin industry, vitamin D is actually relatively affordable, and they put it in milk, so you can drink milk and get vitamin D.
You're supposed to give babies vitamin D supplements too in the winter, so we do that. We give, well, not the most healthy way, but they're like, oh yeah, you should give them vitamin D, so we put it on like a little puff thing and hand it to them.
I love it.
So, anywho,
what direction should we go in now, Kevin? I mean, we're coming up on a break, but
we are coming up on a break. So again, folks, if you're listening here on the online show, make sure you leave your comments. Let us know what you want to talk about. We got a few different things to go to talk about. The San Francisco school board recall, the FBI crypto task force, some no-knock warrant stuff, a couple other things as well.
The IRS facial recognition stuff. We got to talk about that.
Oh boy! All right,
more.
Well, we're heading up on a break. Thanks again for joining us here on A Free Solution. We're going to be back in just a few minutes. Talk to you soon. And out. All right.
Yeah, Rush did beat up on the military. That was one of it. Like he did. He was good.
He's one of those guys who
he was, man. He was calling them out for $6 million hammers and $2 million toilet seats. It was so like such grift and graft.
I mean, you say that, but have you ever used a $6 million toilet? Maybe it's worth it, Tim.
I am willing to sell my used hammers for like $25, and I have like 3 of them. If anybody's interested, let me know. They're good stuff. Well broken in. They don't ring. They don't ping. They're S-wing.
All right. Take your word for it. I'm gonna put out a small PSA. Not that I don't know if there's anyone listening in the Rochester area, but I'm on a board of an organization that's starting a tool library where you'll be able to go and borrow tools for free. If you're in the Rochester area listening to this show, let me know. I'll come get them for you. But we need to have tools, and it's a good way for like small contractors who are just getting started but don't have a lot of like equipment yet to be able to get a few things and get going.
All you need is a hammer and a circular saw, and you can build houses, brother. It's easy.
Legally, or
it's a little bit more complicated than that, but
I mean, it's mostly that. You're probably fine. Maybe buy some nails.
Sure.
You're gonna need some nails, lumber, and whatnot. But all right. We get all these weird spam comments.
I know. I love it. That's awesome. I'm putting one up on the screen. Oh, too late.
No, I blocked them. You don't get the promo.
Dang it.
Done.
I don't even know what language that was.
Spammy link.
Oh,
guys,
gotcha.
Those Russians. Did we ever actually talk about Russia? I feel like we
should talk about Russia. We should. Let's talk about. You want to talk about Russia the next segment? I got some stuff.
Okay, we'll talk about Russia next segment in 20 seconds, guys. We're gonna go back in at 15 minutes. Oh, the medical supplies thing's interesting. Yeah, be a good way to do that too. All right, we gotta go back though. 5, Welcome back to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, your host for today, joined by Tim, the Freedom Variant O'Connor. Thank you for being with us here on A Free Solution, wherever you're listening today. Again, if you're online, make sure you leave your comments. We'd love to hear what you guys have to say. But instead of talking about all those topics that we said we were going to talk about, I think Tim wants to talk about Russia, though, because we tried to do this on our Monday show, and we're really glad. Was it John who called in? We're really glad he did, and it was a great conversation, but we didn't get to talk about Russia.
He was defending McDonald's, John. I mean, I believe me that conversation's replayed in my head about 15 times since we had it, and I'm just like, I want to help you, man. We got to talk more about McDonald's in the future, all right? Because look, man, you're not helping yourself.
The cheapest calories you can get.
This is true. This is true, and I admit that I used to eat McDonald's regularly. But let's start the Russia thing with. Joe Biden was predicting that Russia was going to invade the Ukraine yesterday. And now he's like, well, it could come at any time. Like it could come at any time. Like
it could.
And Ukraine is literally, and Russia both taking to social media and mocking the United States. Literally mocking them. Russia sent out this tweet of the John Travolta from where he's doing this little dance from what's that movie? Come on, guys, help me out. It's Pulp Fiction. Pulp Fiction, where he's the long-haired assassin, and he takes the guy's wife out, and they go to Jackrabbit Slims, and he's doing a little kind of this, and so Russia's like posts it out like, "Where's the Ukraine invasion?"
Was it the one where he's looking around?
Yes, that.
Yeah. No, I know that meme.
Where's the Ukraine invasion? And then even better, a Russian diplomat by the name of, let's see, what is her name? Russian foreign ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova has jokingly asked American and British media outlets to release a schedule of Russia's upcoming invasions of Ukraine for the current year. She feels, and I don't want to put words in her mouth, but she feels that it's important to plan her vacations around potential Russian invasions into the Ukraine. And as she understands it, Russia has no actual plans to invade the Ukraine. But that didn't stop us from sending a lot of lethal aid to the Ukraine and arming perhaps less than savory people.
All right, so here's my take on this. One, Russian troll game is strong. Like
it is,
it's
powerful.
Their government. I don't say the Russians, but the Russian government is terrible. But they're good at making jokes around this thing. Great, which would be a lot funnier if they weren't actually amassing like tens of thousands of troops on the Ukrainian border and hadn't actually seized the Crimea several years ago.
In the past, right.
If they hadn't already done that and it was like not a thing that just happened within the last decade, like, you could kind of be like, oh yeah, maybe the U.S. is overreacting. No, it kind of seems like they're preparing for this. They're also, setting up stuff like they're saying, like, well, the Ukraine's full of fascists, and that's who's getting all the armaments from the U.S. No.
Is that true or is that not true?
No, that's Russian propaganda, man. Like there's
what?
Yeah,
come on.
I know. Well, you can't believe it. Don't believe anything you see on RT. Like half that stuff is garbage. I'm sorry. Like
on where?
Like RT or anything. Like, and honestly, actually, I get a little bit frustrated with some of the old Ron Paul crowd, because some of them they're like, oh well, like the CIA is doing something, so whoever's against the CIA must be like doing something good. And like, nope, they can all be bad. The Russian government is really bad, and there's a reason the live Ukrainians are buying personal weapons to try to defend themselves. It's they don't want to have to see what happens when the Russians take over their state. They want to be independent. They neither want the average person there neither wants fascism nor communism nor whatever the heck Russia is now, some weird Russian nationalism that they think Ukraine ought to be a part of, but the Ukrainians many of them feel very differently about. There's some, like, again, it's a weird cultural thing, because there's parts of Ukraine, like Crimea specifically, where there's a lot of Russian speakers. There's a lot of people who still felt okay about Russia, but No, like what Putin's doing, it's it's still not okay,
Yeah. No,
It
there's a lot of back and forth though in the media. Like and like you said, Russia's saying, "Hey, we're kind of pulling our troops out," and like the BBC is like, "They're literally not," and the U.S. is like, "They're literally not." But I've got to be honest, we've manufactured justifications for ourselves, Kevin. Ourselves, the United States of America, has
Alright.
manufactured justifications for aggressive military actions that perhaps didn't bear themselves out to be true. And so I I are you frozen? Are you
No,
there?
no, I'm not. No, I was gonna
Okay.
say something. I was gonna say, yeah, are
Okay.
you familiar with the phrase, "whataboutism"?
What about us being as horrible as Russia? Yeah, what about it? Go ahead. It's
Whataboutism.
a
Alright, so
whataboutism.
no, so
Sure, it's a
wait, like
logical fallacy, right? I get that,
yeah,
but
yeah,
it's
no, like
also
when you
true.
say when you say like, well, the US does this too. That's not like a counter argument for like Russia, what Russia doing being okay, right? Like we can criticize the US government with Iraq, with a
Right.
whole bunch of stuff with Afghanistan, with Yemen, which is still an ongoing conflict, with a whole bunch of stuff. The U.S. government is not always the good guys in a lot of foreign conflict
Right, right.
situations. That
No, I
being
agree with
said,
that.
Russia is also they're not the good guys either. They are super not the good guys in this
Well,
situation.
I don't wanna make it sound like I think the Russians are the good guys. That's a
Yeah.
whataboutism, and that I absolutely don't think that I was trying to allege. I think they're funny. As everyone knows, like, if Joe Biden was funny, I would like him a lot more. I like Donald Trump because he was funny. So, there is this issue on the international stage. Just a week ago, we had a guy talking about how Russia was gonna manufacture a false flag to
Yeah.
invade Ukraine. He said without evidence, and that was our
Well, he
US
made a claim.
spokesperson.
That's evidence.
It's him. I said it. It's a serious allegation. We
we
must investigate.
yeah.
So, like, that's the thing, like, there's this always at the upper levels of where we're about to put children in harm's way and put guns in their hands and have them shoot at each other. I really, really want the truth, especially after Iraq and especially after some of the other things, that the bombing runs over when Bill Clinton got caught in the Oval Office. There was, I mean, he immediately started a war. It's like it
Yeah.
seemed a little too coincidental to me.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Again, totally understandable to criticize the U.S. government. I certainly have quite a bit about this
And we
stuff.
should, we
We
should. That's
should.
what we're here for.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. So the Russian government, though, what they may end up doing is they're people, they're average folks like us who are looking at this situation who don't have the freedom to talk about that over
True,
there, because a lot of them will end up in jail or poisoned. You may have seen some
true, true.
stories about activists who've tried to point out the corruption of the Russian oligarchs, and they've tried to kill them.
Yeah, well, that's
You know,
maybe that's why I'm coming off as sympathetic to Russia. I'm
oh,
protecting
it's
myself.
just cowardice. All right, cool.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Kevin. That's what I'm saying. We got to
uh,
know we got to know what we're dealing with here.
Yeah, so you're gonna have a situation over there if they do end up invading Ukraine. Maybe it won't happen. Maybe it's a perfectly innocent, amassing of troops on the Ukrainian border less than a decade after they've seized Ukrainian land. Totally innocent, nothing sketchy going on at
Nothing
all.
going on
Plus
here.
propaganda about like how the Ukrainians deserve it, getting put out to the Russian people. But a lot of those Russians, if they get into Ukraine, it's going to be probably a messy, terrible civil war that's going to be unpopular. And there's going to be activists who are going to try to say, hey, why did we do this? This was a terrible idea. We didn't need to do this right now. You could have fixed our problems without trying to do the
Well,
same thing that they do in the US, start a war to try to rally popular support.
I,
And smart folks over there will recognize that, but it's a lot harder for them to say anything to change the situation without resorting to violence.
and so far, Joe Biden's okay. Like, he's like, all diplomatic options are on the table before a military event occurs.
Oh, yeah.
And as incompetent as I think he is, like, that's the right tone that an administration should strike.
And
Okay,
you
like,
got Putin going around like, well, we do have nukes. Oh,
he did do
okay.
that.
So it's
Yes, he
that.
did.
That's yeah.
Don't if we dwarf NATO, like he said that. Well, if we decide to do this and NATO gets involved, we dwarf them. Your home countries will get drawn into this conflict. He did
Yeah.
say those things. So he's talks tough, that's for sure.
Dealing with a super rational person who's already like, well, We're not going to invade Ukraine, but I'm just saying, you get involved, I'm going to nuke you.
Yes, nuclear force is what he said. He said we have nuclear force. We are a major leader in nuclear force. He didn't necessarily say
as he implied it. He
right.
didn't say it.
He
That's
asked us
what he
to
does.
infer it.
There we go. So, but
are we glad we talked about Russia now?
No, it was good discussion so far. We still got a couple minutes left, but kind of bottom line to me is like Ukraine can do what they want on the NATO issue. I think NATO, for the most part, has possibly outlived its usefulness. What's interesting about this is that this kind of gives a new reason for NATO to continue to exist, which has historically existed to fight off the, military threat of the Soviet Union, and now may exist to fight off the military threat and create a defensive alliance against Russia. So
and China, maybe, right?
And possibly China too. But really, don't give them publicity.
I know. I was trying to go get that. You guys on the radio didn't see what happened, but I am trying to block somebody in their chat section.
You're clicking on it.
I'm so horrible.
Bots.
Right.
You're busy cowering to them, and
it could be Russian. It could be Russian. I want to give them thank you for blocking them, Kevin.
Yeah, and we'll point out, Shelley says, we have the freedom to complain,
for now, comrade, for now.
And yeah, no, it's that's interesting. Armenians live in the U.S. watching Russian television because it's usually a second language. Yeah, but a lot of those things are propaganda. All right, realizing how close we are to the break. Thanks again for joining us here on A Free Solution. Appreciate y'all being here. We're going to be back in just a few minutes. Talk to you soon.
I was coming across as pro-Russia, I guess.
You are?
Not particularly pro-Russia. I am very anti-war. And it gets me confused. Like, because we have, and I know it's a whataboutism, but we've entered into wars on some shoddy pretenses in the past. For sure.
Yeah, for sure we have. So like there's this weird thing, and I'll see it pop up in like the liberty movement. Austin Peterson talked about this like right after he ran for president too, where like there's certain aspects of like the liberty movement who are like, again, they're so anti-US that they start to be like, well, whatever the Russian, Chinese, Venezuelan governments say about the US must be true, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but I wasn't doing that.
No, you weren't doing that.
Right.
No. But you've seen this, like, like when the Hong Kong protests are going on, right? Legitimate mass movement going on, and the Chinese government's just like, oh, those are all funded by the CIA. Well, and I was like, no, it seems like they're actually mad for some legitimate local reasons, because they were supposed to have this level of autonomy, and that got taken away, and you're beating people in the streets and gassing them and throwing them in jail. And then
in Canada right now, that kind of like, oh, this is some sort of outside influences, and Trumpsters are coming to Canada, and it's like, knock it off, man. Just roll back some of the mandates. That's all they're asking. Roll them back. Be like, you know what? We decided the science supports this conclusion. They know they would lose face, and that's a problem. These authoritarians cannot afford to lose face. Justin Trudeau, regardless of what paint he puts on his face, cannot afford to lose face, and that's a problem. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I get it. No, you need an outside scapegoat. You can create it's an old classic tactic. You say, like, oh, it's not us. It's the fifth column. It's the foreigners who are disrupting the peace here.
Yeah, the foreigners. And one of the city council people in Ottawa is like, it's Trumpsters. The Trumpsters have come to Canada, and it's like they're terrorists. And I'm like, I think you're a little bit over the top, and somebody should recall her.
Yeah, there you go. Although I saw some polling, I have no idea like how accurate it is. I saw some polling on like among Canadians how the protests being received, and it's not super well received.
I can imagine that a significant number of people are afraid that goods and services are going to be disrupted, because they are.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them. Like I said, I'm very sympathetic to the people in Ottawa that are like, okay, okay, we get it. Okay, mate, move on, please. Like
Yeah.
stop blowing your horns. We need to sleep.
Yeah, right. So
Like I get
only
it,
so
man.
much honking we want. We got message received. Go home.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I do get it. I really do, man.
Yeah.
I still kind of like the freedom convoy concept, like I like that. But
But
at some point it does
yeah,
have
if you
to
have to
end,
live through it,
even
yeah,
if they
it's
kind of lose. They will win more if they let this end peacefully too. Like there's two
yeah.
sides to this.
All right. So we should go back to section 3
Mhm.
and we're gonna talk about we'll go back at 31. We're gonna talk about
Okay.
crypto, San Francisco.
Great. Let's do the crypto one. That'll be more
All right,
fun. And
you
and
got it.
see if we can kind of get to the San Francisco one too. If
All right. All right. So we'll go back at 31 minutes, which means we'll be 31 to 41, and then it's fake news time. All right. Welcome back to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, your host today, joined by Tim, the Freedom Variant O'Connor.
yes, I love it. I love my name
Yes.
that I self-named myself.
You got it.
I
No,
love it.
it's nickname. It's perfect.
Catch it. The Freedom Variant.
So appreciate y'all listening today, whether you're listening on WYSL or downline on WACK. And of course, our friends listening online, the Free Solution Facebook page, Free Solution YouTube channel, the group, the Tim O'Connor pages, the Kevin Wilson pages, wherever you're listening
We're
today.
everywhere.
Appreciate y'all. And
See,
all right,
where
we go next.
Your last name though, like, was that because I was making fun of you for being related to Woodrow Wilson?
What about my last name?
Oh, on the internet, folks, Kevin has just has Kevin up tonight, so I'm teasing him. Perhaps you remember in the past I've teased him about being related to Woodrow Wilson.
Yes, a
which he denies.
A terrible lie for which I will eventually sue you for a ton of money, I'm sure.
Well, I'm going to put all my money in Bitcoin.
Okay. Well,
and I will report it to the FBI because they are launching, Kevin, check this out. The FBI is launching a team to address crypto exploitation. Now, the timing of this aside, it may not be the worst thing that the FBI has done. I think that some people are interpreting this FBI move as something similar to what's going on in Canada, where they're saying, "Hey, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna take your Bitcoin too. We're gonna take all your money and your Bitcoin."
Yeah,
I don't know.
So what is going on?
I got you spinning now. How do I do that? Why does my brain work like that?
What is going on with this? Like, so is this like the FBI is going to be monitoring all your Bitcoin assets? And seeing what if you're doing anything sketchy, you're donating to someone who maybe the Freedom Convoy in Canada.
What the FBI is claiming that they're going to do is basically treat cryptocurrency as a real currency, okay? And that if someone steals it from you, they will help you get it back. And the Department of Justice and the FBI teamed up to help return. You were talking about the Bitfinex breakdown from 2016 where they stole like 3.6 billion. And they finally just caught the people that did it. So what the FBI wants to do is offer security for people in the crypto market, purportedly.
Right. And so, like, again, if I'm understanding this correctly, again, it's mostly what they say the intention is, right? So for folks who are either like stealing crypto or and also I think it's related to folks who are holding companies ransom, like ransomware type stuff. They'll seize someone's like computer systems, and then they'll demand a bunch of Bitcoin or whatever, and then trying to investigate like what ends up happening with that. Are you able to recover any of those assets? We saw that happen with that pipeline incident last year. So it's becoming a big thing, right? In crypto, it is definitely a feature, not a bug for a lot of folks, that like there's a greater level of privacy that exists with that, but because of that greater level of privacy, it's hard to find you if you are doing something criminal. And I mean criminal not in the sense of victimless crime, but criminal in the sense of like you're actually hurting someone by holding their assets hostage or stealing from them or whatever. it's harder to go and find those folks. Not impossible, because it's pseudonymous. It's not so, like, Bitcoin specifically is not fully anonymous. You can
It's not
trace it back,
it's
but
basically if you have your wallet and your identification, you can access your own Bitcoin. So in that sense, your name doesn't have to be attached to it. But if someone steals money out of your wallet without an agreement from you, that gets recorded hundreds of thousands of times across all the servers that deal with record transactions in Bitcoin, there's perhaps a way to track it back to who stole it and then get return your asset to you. And I think that's what the FBI is saying that they're trying to do here is form this
yeah.
task force to protect property of citizens, of human beings, I guess, probably not just citizens of the United
Yeah.
States.
So, which in theory is that's what you want law enforcement to do, right?
It is. It
right.
is.
Like, all right, someone takes your stuff, they exploit you. Okay, then like you're supposed to go and help me. And
It's not they're not talking about it as a new division of civil asset forfeiture where they say, "You have Bitcoin, we're taking your Bitcoin because we suspect you using it on the
yeah,
Silk Road or something like that."
yeah.
Or for
I
your
mean,
only you got
for
it from
now,
OnlyFans or something.
oh yeah, get from wherever you want. I don't know.
I know, right? It may I mean, they may report to the IRS and stuff like that,
It's where
but
they're
who
gonna,
knows?
yeah. So where they're gonna figure it out, like, all right, like this is where they're gonna start taxing the unrealized gains of crypto.
That is a problem, right? The government is perpetually money hungry. That's probably a separate issue, but we think government is talking about taxing unrealized gains. Like
Which
that's a
is
problem. That's going to be a real problem.
Yeah, which is bonkers, right? Like, if you ever have like any money in crypto, like, if depending on when they taxed me throughout last year, it might have been a lot, or I might have lost a bunch of money, like just depending on when it is.
Exact. It look and I even think maybe Bitcoiners aren't understanding this because on this news, this breaking news from the FBI, Bitcoin was down 8% today. Right, it's about
Oh,
$40,000. There goes my new truck.
no, bummer.
Yeah.
So I said I mostly got a Bitcoin. I was like, oh, I'm gonna go into Ethereum, and then like Ethereum like has just been like sunk down low. It's like, oh.
I'm a horrible investor, Kevin. I got
Yeah,
to be
no,
honest
don't
with
this
you.
you guys should not listen to anything we say
This
about,
is
like,
not
what cryptocurrency to invest in. We're talking about, like, the policy side, which is interesting, like, the theoretical concept around, like, blockchains and cryptocurrency, I still think are really valuable. Actually, what we haven't talked about this yet. What do you think of NFTs? Like, just the concept generally?
I don't even know what NFT stands for. Non-fungible tokens? Like, what does that mean?
Non-fungible token. I mean, basically, it's a proof of ownership of something. You can't funge it.
Un
You can't duplicate it, right? So like people associate with like those images that are online, right? And I know people are like, oh, you can just right click and save image, whatever. But like the token that says you own this original piece of art, or whatever it is. It doesn't have to be art. It could be like any digital asset. You can say, I have this proof and it's on the blockchain that says I'm the legitimate owner of this. Anyone else who tries to say that they own this is lying, because I can prove that I own the original thing, right?
So when you put it like that, it sounds pretty good. I just know that high school kids are making billions of dollars off of printing non-fungible tokens, and I have no idea what they mean.
Right,
Should
they're
we
just making like weird NFT art, and then like someone decides to go buy that for like 3 Ethereum.
Yeah, I know. So, like, should we put non-fungible tokens on our broadcasts? Like, is that something to
Maybe,
protect?
like, so legitimately, I think that's where it will eventually go, is that
Okay.
people will use it for certifying like the legitimacy of things like, music. Like, you could say, I
Right.
own a legitimate copy of this album. I know that the money went to the artist or whoever. And then anything that doesn't have that proof of identity, maybe it'll eventually be used on devices to enforce, being able to listen to them. That's the creepy way it could go. Or it could be, a positive thing where, again, it gets used to support artists by
Proof
not
of ownership.
copying, and yeah, having proof of ownership, and making
Mm.
it more difficult for folks to be able to copy, distribute, pirate, you know, stuff. And
Alright,
I
so
know I know some folks have strong feelings about piracy, pro and con, but like, for independent artists, it can be a big deal.
yeah, I mean, a lot of people create. And you should check out TikTok, guys. Like people are creating fun stuff on TikTok, and songs like hit songs are coming out of TikTok with these collaborations back and forth
Yeah.
between 2 or 3 people. It's really kind of
Yeah.
neat. I'm not gonna
Oh
lie.
no, I like some of that stuff, and we are heading up on a break, so
Man, time
but
flies.
yeah, so when we come back, we'll talk about we got Fake News Friday. That's what
We
we're
do
going
have
to talk
Fake News
about. It's
Friday.
Fake News Friday time. We didn't get the half the topics, of course. This is what always happens.
This is yeah, but that's okay. And guys, we appreciate your input. We thank you for being here. I'm having a blast.
Yeah. All right. So thanks again for joining us here on A Free Solution. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Talk to you soon. And cut that one a little bit shorter.
Did we go long on it?
No. I made sure there's like 30 seconds left, so I'm giving a little buffer time for music to be there. 15 seconds on either side.
Gotcha.
And yeah, no. So some of the songs on TikTok though are great. Like the collaborations that end up coming out of like just the weirdest stuff. You ever seen the one with the cat? Going.
No, I haven't seen
I'm gonna
that one
send it
yet.
to you. That's like one of the first ones that I
Yeah,
saw, and
send
it's
that
just
out to me. They got this A, B, C, D, E, F, U, and your dog, and your mom, and your
Oh yeah,
blah,
no.
blah,
Well,
blah.
there's
Now they've expanded it. Somebody goes to I love you still, and I always will, blah, blah, blah. It's like, guys, you're getting entertainment right here. Tim O'Connor singing on A Free Solution. And now there's a guy rapping. He's like, duet this and add your own, lay down your own riffs or whatever, right? Like, and it's, I don't know, it's pretty hot. I don't know, like, hot is the right word, but
hot.
you know,
I think that was I have no idea. I don't know what you're more on TikTok than I am lately. So
I go on a couple times a day because honestly, like I find stuff that's fun. I duet with stuff that I find interesting, and sometimes it's weird. People are going around TikTok saying that if you just duet with videos, your content is crap. And here I am getting like 1,000 views or 2,000 views if I found a funny video and I duet with it, and people like it, and I maybe add a few
the
words somewhere.
algorithm doesn't lie, right?
That's
People are
right.
watching you.
I duetted with Larry, and him and Olivia Rondelou were talking about the CNN jokers and the use of the N-word and Joe Rogan's use of the N-word, and I duetted with that, and I managed to get a decent amount of views for Larry and Olivia, and it's worth it. Like it was, so my content's crap, guys, on TikTok, according to some TikTok experts, but it seems to be working. Emotional damage. Shelly's got a. Have you seen Stephen He? Oh my God, dude, he's an absolute riot. You got to check him out. Just go to TikTok, check out Emotional Damage. He's the best, man. Emotional damage. It'll kill you. Everybody's using that sound.
Oh yeah.
I'll try to work it into our Fake News Friday.
Oh goodness. All right, so we'll go back at 44. Do some fake news. You want to go first or second?
I'll go. I only have one that I found. The FBI. I was going to do the FBI as fake news, and then I was also kind of thinking about doing the. Well, I could actually. Yeah, no, I got two, so I can go first.
All right. So go back. I said we'll go back at 44. So nice even, and go to 56. 12 minutes. Segment 4. Five, 4, 3, 2. It's Fake News Friday. Welcome back to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, host today, joined by Tim, the Freedom Variant O'Connor. Of course, it's Fake News Friday, so we read headlines and decide. We try to ask the other host, is it real news or is it fake news? All right.
Yes.
So and Tim has agreed to go first this time. I got at least one today, maybe two. We'll see.
Yeah. Do you know who Mahmoud Ahmadinejad is?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. All right.
Oh,
So a lot of people are really unhappy with Justin Trudeau's current actions to disband the Freedom Convoy. I do think that he could negotiate. He could negotiate his way out of this one, but I Mahmoud Ahmadinejad is one of the guys that's unhappy with it. The violent crackdown on the Freedom Convoy 2022 has nothing to do with freedom of speech and human rights. How coercion could be related to liberty and freedom of choice. And he hashtagged Truckers for Freedom on.
So this guy did again. He's is he still the president of Iran?
I don't think he is. Let's check.
Former president. Okay, I had to Google it. Former president.
Okay.
All right. So
now does that sound like something he would say?
Possibly. A lot of foreign leaders are trolls and do not care if they're being wildly hypocritical in what they say. So I'm going to say that's real. That's real news.
Okay. So even with blue check marks on Twitter, sometimes you have to be careful. There's deep fakes that go on and people play games with stuff. But the blue check mark account for Mahmoud Ahmadinejad tweeted on February 17th at 12:49 p.m., the violent crackdown on the Freedom Convoy of 2022 has nothing to do with freedom of speech and human rights. How coercion could be related to liberty and freedom of choice. Hashtag Truckers for Freedom. So ostensibly, he's I think voicing support for the Truckers for Freedom on his Twitter account.
Yeah. Now, I don't want to say he's insincere. There's a little bit of the pot calling the kettle black.
I mean, a lot of religious zealots think that the only way to achieve freedom is through their religion. I don't know.
Yeah, I hinted at I said Putin does this too. China does this occasionally, where they'll be like, "Oh, U.S. I can't believe your police officers are so violent." And like, all right, well,
your police officers are violent. And then you go, what about your police officers?
Yeah, exactly.
Emotional damage.
See, oh, you worked it in there. Good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Whataboutism everywhere, but it's like, all right. Yeah, a little bit, but a little bit of hypocrisy on their part.
Absolutely.
But so I'm not at all surprised that it's real though, because you'll see a bunch of these leaders like, well, how'd you handle this situation? Oh, not well. Okay.
I literally burned them to the ground, but
yeah,
I can't stand what Justin Trudeau is doing.
No. Nope. So you don't have to like either of those folks though.
I didn't take their money.
No. Yeah, no, that whole thing with the money with the banks now, I know, and maybe that's why crypto is the way to go.
It sets a bad precedent. They're saying they'll find the crypto. Their FBI is going to find your crypto and take it from you. Our FBI is going to find your crypto and return it to you. That's the United States way.
Good job, FBI. I can't imagine any way you'd abuse your power and
what could possibly
what could go wrong. Just listen, guys. Just give us your keys. Give us all the keys, and then we'll trust us. We'll find it.
We'll find it for us. We'll find it for us. All of us.
Collectively.
All right.
What did you think was going to happen? All right. So here's one. The headline: Moderna CEO dumps $400 million worth of stock.
Oh, all right. So
real news or fake news?
It's real news. But he's been doing it over the course of a year. But the market's fickle, and the market reacted to that news in a big way.
Yeah, started kind of figuring out what he's doing. So you're saying, yeah, most real, but like. It wasn't like he did it in a day.
It was, I believe it was $10-15 million at a time. I believe it was over a year or so. And then someone just said, hey, guess what? He's dumped over $400 million of stock.
What happened here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that how it played out?
So that's the correct assessment. Like there's some memes I saw that made it seem like Stefan Bankel's the person's name. I hope I'm pronouncing his name.
It sounds close enough for me.
But yeah, it made it sound like it happened like last week, but it was over the course of a year. It is weird. And again, I'm not one to say like, oh, like big pharma is like ironic, but like what Moderna and all their leadership did is odd. And so let me just lay out the scenario of like what actually happened here. Basically, at the beginning of last year, they had pre-planned like agreements to sell stock, right? So like this is what happens. Like this is their way of like making sure that it doesn't look like they're engaging in insider trading, right? Like you can't like buy up a bunch or sell like your stock based on company news that is privileged information for you, but isn't open to the public, right? So for instance,
right,
what's that?
unless you're in the US Congress or something like that. That's different. But go ahead. I didn't mean to
Yeah.
interrupt.
No,
You're on a
only
roll.
if you're in the corporation, Congress, privileged
Congress, there's no
information.
limits on
Whatever.
trading
That's
on news that no one else has. No limits.
yes. That's a whole other show topic, right?
That
But
is.
but weirdly enough, the several people in the leadership of Moderna right before news that their first vaccine trial went well last year or whatever back in like 2020,
Yeah,
they adjusted their plan to be able to sell their stock more aggressively, right? So
okay.
that's weird. And of course, like they adjusted their plan, and then the news came out, and then the stock price went up, and then they're able to sell it. Again, all the trades that have happened were things that happened over the last like couple years. But it's a little weird that they adjusted their plan to sell more aggressively just before some news came out. So that seems a bit weird.
It
And
does.
yeah. And then it's also a little bit weird that like a bunch of folks like their it's like their CEO, several board members, and like other folks in key leadership positions have been like completely zeroing out their stock. And that it's a little bit alarming if you're an investor because you're like,
What do they know?
yeah, do you know something? Like you have a successful vaccine, and not only do you have that, you have the ability to continue selling this because it likely people will need boosters year after year. Plus, they're involved with developing like an HIV vaccine. So you're like, do you not think the stock price is going to go up? Why?
Yeah, well, the stock price, I did notice that the stock price is down over $220 over the course of the last 6 months. It was up around 370. It's now trading at $151.12.
Yeah.
So there seems to be some and again, like stock guys are like politicians, man. Like the second somebody gives you good news, it's time to sell that stock because they're lying. So, like, I fully expect tomorrow, like the stock guys, everybody go, "Oh, bullish rating on Moderna," like, and then it's gonna go like to 70 or 30.
Yeah. I mean, and maybe it legitimately is a good buy. Like again, to me, like just as a layperson looking at this, even if these are all like planned sales, like it's a little bit bizarre that the leadership of that of that company is being this aggressive and selling stock now. And maybe they're just like, this is the most hyped it's gonna be. So like, let's make the most money that we can right now, right?
Maybe they need to buy some more politicians, and politicians are expensive. Let's be honest.
There we go. That's the Tim theory of this.
Yeah, I'm just saying. It seems like
Just saying.
Just saying. Politicians are expensive. Bitcoiners, you should have bought politicians. I warned you.
Yeah.
They need to buy politicians.
Missed opportunity.
Missed opportunity. All right. So I promised you another one, right?
Yeah.
And I have lost my place in my brain.
Oh
what
man.
I was going to do.
I understand how that happens.
Okay. I've got it. All right. So look, all over social media is breaking news, right? Breaking news. 17, like Business Insider breaks this news today. Okay. 17 Nobel laureates endorse the Build Back Better plan. Is that real news or is that fake news?
I mean, it's probably real news, right? Like, I believe someone who has gotten a Nobel Prize is
It's okay. It's true. Okay, 17 Nobel laureates have endorsed the Build Back Better plan. Okay, this is true, but they did it all the way back in September of 2021. So they've been on board since then. There's an article that came out, some minor paper printed it up. These guys are green energy economics guys. They're down with the Build Back Better plan. They have been since September, but like Joe
It's old
Biden
news.
tweets out today, 17, no, like it's news
you know,
from today. And
sent
even
out the
Business Insider or Forbes gets in on the action and acts
that
like, look, here they are. And this
that's
is like,
just called public relations. You get the
yeah,
story
these
to
are the
hit when you
same
need it to
clowns.
hit.
Yeah, these are the same clowns. Inflation isn't,
Uh,
it is temporary. It's temporary. All right.
all right,
And
but Tim, we gotta go though. We're out of time.
what?
We're totally out of time. The music will be playing. It's gonna be playing right now. All right,
All
thanks
right.
again for joining us here on A Free Solution. Appreciate y'all being here. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, folks. Take care. And we're out.
So there's only
All right.
44 Nobel laureates alive today in the entire world. So 17 is only 38% of all the Nobel laureates in economics. So therefore, it's actually not even a majority of Nobel laureates that sign on to the Biden's
There
Build
you
Back
go.
Better plan.
Yeah,
I mean, if we're
that's
going to
not
play
good a
with
percentage.
stats, and it was really annoying. Like, I'm like, this sounds so familiar. I see the tweets scrolling through, and Robert Reich. I hate that guy. He's another guy I can't stand. But like, like 17 Nobel laureates. Like, okay, the argument from authority, right? Okay, what about the fact that they actually endorsed it before inflation became a real problem, and that we're talking about spending another $3.5 trillion on top of the already bloated U.S. budget and the deficit spending that we're already doing? I don't know. Am I crazy?
Yeah, I agree. That's I think people are becoming more aware of the political costs of a bill like Build Back Better, which sounds a lot more frightening in the age of ever increasing inflation compared to when everything was shut down.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the argument can be made that some of our strategies here with our energy policy has empowered Russia to have more money to be aggressive militarily. And I did like that was actually I do make fun of Trump, but I do want to point out that energy independence in the United States i- is important and it's a powerful step forward. Now, does it have to be oil? No, because we could start building backyard nuclear plants tomorrow that are
That's right.
safe and that we could power our electric cars and we could use big old cheap batteries because we'd have so much extra electricity around that it wouldn't matter and we wouldn't have to put kids in lithium mines. We could use cheaper style batteries till the battery stuff catches up. So energy independence is a counter inflationary tactic. All right, that's a reality, but also counter inflationary tactics, guys. Get ready. Okay, raising interest rates is a counter inflationary tactic.
It's gonna
Period.
happen.
It's going to happen, and it's going to hurt the poor, the middle class, people that spend money on credit cards. You're gonna get slaughtered.
Yeah. No, it's definitely gonna be a thing. I mean, it creeped up to like the Fed interest rate creeped up to like what 1% or something, or not
Right.
1%. Yeah, was it that? Might have been that.
Something. Look, it's going. No matter what, it is the Fed's actions to raise interest rates are counter-inflationary, and they're going to raise interest rates, and then the government's going to spend more money, and it's going to create. Well, it's destabilizing the currency. I think. I
Yeah.
don't know.
And
And
I mean, the interest rate thing is going to be interesting because it's going to hurt, right? Like interest rates have been like historically low for a long, long time, and that's like putting your foot on the gas for a while. Eventually, you're going to burn the engine out, and so they're like, all right, better ease up a tiny, tiny bit, but that shock
correct.
of doing that is now going to be like tough to deal with. So
Yeah,
we'll get stagflation again. That's it's
stagflation was horrible. Like, and guys, I can remember you could get 7% on a savings account. You could get 13% on a money market or a CD, a certificate of deposit. Now, like you can't get 1% in those things. So
Yeah.
I don't know if it wasn't better back then. Money seemed a little more real back then.
Yeah,
I'll
I
be
mean,
honest with you.
it'll probably be going back up if the Fed keeps jumping them up. But I can't imagine we're going to see like that sort of interest rate again.
Look at 3%, 2% inflation with a move towards energy independence, even 4% inflation with a move towards energy independence, real energy independence that's affordable for the middle class, which Trump was good about. He did rely on fossil fuels, but the reality is energy independence is anti-inflationary. It's a huge shock to everyone's budget. The price of transporting goods and services, a core price of that is the fuel that it takes to get things from point A to point B. That there's a multiplier effect on the cost of fuel for delivery of goods and services, right? I mean, that's it. Just gets
14% CD.
14. Yeah. It wasn't. I almost think I remember 20% on a 10-year CD or something like that. Like it was possible to get that, and then
like a CD is like barely even worth it now. Like I mean, like even like a couple years ago when was organizationally looking at like CDs, like is this a good place to store like some of our extra cash? And we're like, well, no, we'll basically lose money on this, like with 2% inflation.
Yeah, I remember I had a chunk of change and I wanted to put it into a money market, right? And I got the guy at the bank talked into a 1.5% about 15 years ago, and I'd make the deposit, and like the bank managers are from other supervisor are calling. We don't think we can honor that commitment on that. Like we made a mistake there, and I'm like, well, the mistake is I'll just come get my money and I won't do business with you guys anymore. I'm like, oh well, like I'm making it sound like it was a lot of money. It wasn't. All right, it was just like I'm like, well, I'll just come get my money and not do business with you anymore. And they're like, whoa, we'll let it slide this time. Would you accept it for just 6 months instead of a year? I'm like, no, you promised me this. So whatever, it was no big deal.
Yeah. Yeah, and I do you talked about like the energy independence thing. Like that's a big deal like in Europe, like with Germany now becoming more dependent on gas pipelines from Russia. That's like it's a huge deal. Like so now they're less likely to say anything, to jump into like, the fray to tell Russia to knock it off, because like if Russia cuts off the gas for them, they're in trouble now. Because they shut down all their nuclear power plants when they got freaked out after the Fukushima disaster, which again, no one actually like died from radiation poisoning from that.
No, and look, nuclear power is scary. It's like the unseen power, like, and it has it. We blew up a country with it, So I get it, right? It needs to be handled judiciously. It needs to be handled safely. But we have a pretty amazing track record. I saw some statistic. 1971, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission was formed. Their goal was to make sure they monitored new build outs of nuclear power plants. And guess what? Coincidentally, we haven't built a nuclear power
as soon
plant
as they start doing that,
since
the
didn't really seem to Regulatory
happen.
Commission.
No. You're always on TikTok. You need to follow. There's a guy called the Rad Guy.
The Rad Guy?
Yeah, go follow him.
Okay.
He talks about a lot of this stuff all the time. Barriers to building, and like the actual like safety and efficacy of the safety and effectiveness of like building nuclear plants and running them and drawing energy on them and all that stuff. He's like his main job is basically doing hazmat response for radiation events.
And he's still alive. Nothing's happened to him. He's still making TikToks.
Still making TikToks for now. All right. But we should call it a night, folks.
All right, brother.
Yeah. All right. Thanks again for joining us for the bonus content of A Free Solution. Again, we're doing this every Thursday night, pre-recording our Friday shows. So we can, work during the day, allegedly.
Purportedly. More emotional damage coming at you guys next week.
All right. Have a good night.
Take care, Kevin.